Thanksgiving, a time for home cooking and home movies. There's Cousin Joey sneaking a taste. Ah, chef's kiss. Mwah. Lots of activity around the kitchen. Time to carve the bird, but don't fumble. There's always a kid's table. I think his face is still frozen like that. These moving pictures are the great leftovers of this holiday. Styles change, but the sentiment doesn't. For over 60 years, CBS and the NFL have been capturing a different holiday home movie, Thanksgiving in Detroit. The players change, announcers too.
The turkey, John, is in readiness.
And a very happy Thanksgiving Day to you and yours.
Happy Thanksgiving.
But it's always a day for food, family, and football. And even though these two go way back,
Barry Sanders!
This year, there's some new faces at the table.
Here we go!
That's how you start the game right there. Stafford, end zone bound.
Baby, what a catch! Terry Cohen in from the 6.
Touchdown, Chicago.
Khalil Mack is doing it all! And the celebration continues. Oh my goodness!
This place is rocking right now.
CBS Sports is proud to present that classic home movie, Thanksgiving in Detroit.
And we all love this movie, don't we? Welcome back for another edition as we welcome you to Detroit, where the downtown streets were lined 1 million strong earlier this morning for America's Thanksgiving parade, and now tens of thousands have made their way inside Ford Field for the Lions hosting of the Chicago Bears. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hello, friends. Jim Nance, Tony Romo, Tracy Wilson, Gene Steratore here as well. And it's great to have you with us on this great holiday. Happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend, to you, to Candace, the boys, and all the family.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Jim, and Courtney and the kids. And I know you guys were cold this morning out on that when you were Grand Marshal for the parade. It was pretty neat to watch.
It was a great honor. Nice doubleheader, by the way. The parade and then the game. Detroit knows how to do Thanksgiving right. Meanwhile, their opponent today, concerns at quarterback because Mitch Trubisky is out with a shoulder injury suffered Sunday night in the win against Minnesota. So Chase Daniel, in his 9th year, gets just his 3rd start.
What a big-time day for a start, too. National game. Chase is the veteran who hasn't played that much, but this system fits him really well. This week is tough, though. He didn't get many reps. It was all walk-through reps, and now all of a sudden, here you go. You get your big shot. Today's the day for him.
And how about for the Lions? Matthew Stafford, he's recently had great form on Thanksgiving. 15 touchdowns, only 3 picks over the last 6 years.
Well, you know, this team right now, if they run the ball, Stafford's very productive. They won last week. You know, they're not getting a lot of explosive plays, but you got to get the ball out of his hands. Stafford, he can play big on big days like this.
Tony, you ready to do Project Smarter, presented by Home Depot? Give me some smart talk here.
Well, the smart thing to do is to get the ball to Kenny Golladay. Stafford last week, 8 receptions, 113 yards, big touchdown. He's a big target. You can throw it up high. Doesn't matter the coverage. You can throw it to him. Stafford with the gun. You'll see that today. And then you got Khalil Mack, 8 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, interception. I mean, this guy does it all. Plays the run, plays the pass. He's going to be disruptive every game he plays.
And along with Hicks, you say stuff the opponent as your game points for the Bears.
Well, the Bears, they know where their strengths are. Khalil Mack up front. Hicks is having a fantastic year, pushing the middle of the pocket at defensive tackle. It's going to be a tough task for Detroit today.
And how do you see it for the Lions? Without Kerryon Johnson, the rookie running back who's been superb this year, but out with a knee injury suffered against Carolina Sunday.
Well, the smart move for the Lions is to just keep running the football. Make sure you gave up 6 sacks last time you played the Bears. That can't happen today. You're at home. Run the ball. Keep it efficient.
And now to honor America. They have opened for and shared the stage with Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle, and many more. Please join stellar, award-nominated Larry Callahan and Selected of God as they lead us in the singing of our national anthem.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous
Couldn't help but notice emotional look in the eyes of Coach Matt Patricia. Great to have you with us, folks, on this great American holiday. Kickoff coming up. Family, feasting, and football. Let's get this Thanksgiving officially started. Get the ball in the air at Ford Field as the Bears have deferred. TJ Jones will be back for the Lions. These teams, Tony, met just 11 days ago.
Yeah, that's a bonus for a quarterback because you already know schematically you did put all the time in on third down, red zone. So when you have a short week, you're ahead of the curve.
Harkey with the kickoff. Bears won that game 34-22, and in fact led 26-0 to start off that game. Tracy Wolfson, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Mitchell Trubisky, though, just so disappointed he can't be out here playing on Thanksgiving. Suffered that shoulder injury on a late hit on Sunday. Woke up Monday with soreness. We spoke with Matt Nagy, and he basically said with a short week and the way he plays the game, not worth the risk. As for Detroit, they are missing two key offensive weapons, running back Kerryon Johnson and Marvin Jones out again with the knee injury, Jim.
Okay, so Trubisky again on the sideline. You saw him during the anthem. Here's Blunt hitting the handle, and as Tracy pointed out, without Kerryon Johnson, who has had a really good rookie season, and without Marvin Jones, so they're thin as far as playmakers go. Stafford, career Thanksgiving mark of 4-4, and again, his last 6 Thanksgiving games, 15 touchdown passes. What are you looking out of them? From them today, Tony?
Well, they need to run the football. Without Marvin Jones, they don't have a ton of juice. The speed running, east and west isn't quite going to be there. They can get down the field with Galladay, but it's going to be these back shoulders, contested throw and catches. They're going to have to run the ball today.
Here's a 2nd and 8, and out of the backfield, they get it over to Riddick. Nice little wiggle across the 30 against that Bears defense. Brought down by Fuller. You see now the rest of this lineup. The big target you mentioned in your Home Depot keys to the game, Kenny Galladay. There he is, number 19. He's become their #1 target. He's a Chicago guy, raised in the Chicago area, and he had a touchdown catch against Chicago again just 11 days ago.
Last week against Carolina, they got the ball out of Stafford's hands quickly, and it really helped. That's how they won that football game. Expect to see the same plan today.
3rd and 4. He did get rid of it quickly, didn't he? And that's a catch for only a couple. And that's Ellington, who just had his debut as a Lion last week, days ago.
And you're seeing Chicago, they're 7-3, and this defense is good everywhere. They're basically suffocating offenses now. They know they're getting to the quarterback fast, so the DBs are playing downhill quickly, making tackles aggressively and fast.
Yeah, Vic Fangio's defense is either leading most categories or near the top 3 in almost everything, including takeaways. So they forced a 3 and out. Cohen tripped up as he backpedaled, but gains his balance, finds a tiny seam, and gets up to about the 28 off the Sam Martin punt that traveled 53 yards. And here comes Chase Daniel. Imagine 9 years in the league, Tony. He's thrown only 78 passes. His last start was week 17 of the 2014 season. 32-year-old, born and raised in the Dallas area.
You're right. What a day today, though. To get your start Thanksgiving, he's in that rare position, being behind Breeze, never gets hurt. He's got a chance today to really show the league who he is and who he's been. He's prepared. This is the same system he was in Kansas City. He knows it cold. Here's your opportunity, Chase.
Gets a quick completion right away over to Anthony Miller, rookie out of Memphis, who's coming on strong. So his hug from his wife Hillary, she traveled over for the game. he actually is so anxious to get this going. He broke a little early away from the rest of the team. Oh, hey guys, I thought we were heading out.
Are we going to play today? Or? He's so ready. He said he's the oldest player on the team, and he's played in 78 snaps. There's 78 passes. It's going to be fun watching how this unfolds.
Let's see if he can lead the team on the field. 2nd and 4. Pass over the head of Miller. He goes to again. So 3rd and 4. This Bears offense Well, the line is solid. Allen Robinson, one of the wideouts, had a big game against Detroit with 133 yards and a couple of touchdowns, the former Jaguar. There he is, number 12.
Yeah, they got weapons all over the place, and they'll move them around. Last time they played, though, the Lions defense couldn't stop really the explosive plays and the run after catch. You got to stop them, make the tackle when they get a catch. Don't let them continue to run up the sideline.
So it's 3rd and 4. Lions failed to convert on 3rd and 4. Let's see if Chicago can. Pass wide of the mark. Taquan Mizell was the man who was out there.
And Detroit defense is excited there. This is the first game they've had Slay, Darius Slay, Damon Harrison, and Ansah out there for maybe the whole game. Now, they've had a spurt here or there, but the injuries have really cost them. Those 3 guys allow Matt Patricia to run his defense the way he wants. Single up this guy, double over here, stop the run on 1st down.
Pat O'Donnell with the punt. Down to the 10. TJ Jones. He gets smacked pretty good about the 18-yard line. So each team, 3 plays and out. We get this game underway.
Hi, I'm Matthew Stafford of the Detroit Lions. And on behalf of my wife, Kelly, my 3 little girls, and the entire Lions organization, we'd like to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving.
And that's a happy family indeed. Happy Thanksgiving to the Stafford family and to all of you. As now we see the Lions' 2nd possession starting at the 18th. Try to start a series with a handoff to Blunt right into the arms of Hicks, who's having a big season. This Bears defense, again, Vic Fangio's team, they have 5 defensive touchdowns, most in the league, 18 interceptions, fewest points allowed, most points off turnovers, a little bit of everything.
There's no one area, talking to, Vic right there, he's like, there's not one area I'm like, ooh, this is a big concern down the road. We've got to get better here. He's like, really, we're just trying to continue to get better individually at our technique.
2nd and 9, they're going to the other side. Try to set it up with a fake, and Riddick takes off. Riddick able to race it out to about the 38. Trevathan able to finally end it, but a nice 18-yard pickup for the Lions.
Well, it's just a fake swing pass to the right, and you throw a screen, and this is exactly the way they played last week against Carolina, and they kind of changed, used max speed and aggressiveness against them going up the field. But this is how they really, I like what they do. They're running the ball now, and they're getting the ball out of Stafford's hands quickly. Teams are coming after him, fine, ball's gone, turnovers go down, keeps the game simple.
So the game's first down as the Lions will snap at the 37. They're going to pick up a blitzer. And there's a little dump off pass to Ballore. Nick Ballore for 6. How about the fact it's not only have you seen this team 11 days ago, but you're preparing for a division foe on Thanksgiving. All your experience, I'm sure you like that chance when you got a chance to stay in the division on a short week.
Yeah, it's a big help just from a coaching perspective. I mean, if you had a brand new opponent and all of a sudden you're done with a game on Sunday night, and now these guys have to get ready for a game on Thursday, I mean, that's asking for a lot, so it helped just for the time of this week getting prepared.
2nd and 4, and let's get back to a little bit more on that, a deeper dive. We're talking about, it appears to be the shortest prep week for any team in the history of the league. When you take the Bears having played Sunday night and having to travel, however you want to do the math on it, somewhere around 85 hours since they left the field with a win against Minnesota.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, it's incredible. It happens now because they flex you on Sunday night if you're playing good football. And just, it's difficult to say. I mean, some guys it's going to be okay. For others who are banged up a little bit, it's a big deal coming out of short week. But it just depends on how the last week went.
3rd and 2, and they get it to Golladay, and he's got enough for the 1st. Stafford zipped it in there to his 2nd-year target out of Northern Illinois, and the Lions have another 1st down.
Well, it's a good job stacking the receivers. Golladay gets behind Jones, and you get a natural pick right there. and it allows him to beat Callahan to the sideline. And you have yet to see the Lions hold the ball for more than a second, really, on any specific pass play.
He's hit his first 5 passes, all of the short variety. But again, a first down at the 48. Garrett Blunt, the running back. Here in that quick pass over to Ellington. Mukamara has him all the way and maybe even pushed him back for a yard loss.
Yeah, I think you're seeing head coach Matt Patricia's influence here, though. You saw I formation a little bit ago. They had success running the ball last week out of, I formation, old school football a little bit. Get the ball out of the quarterback's hands, screens, quick little outs, quick slants. All of a sudden it's a run-pass option where you throw it out for a smoke. Just keep doing that, and the game stays tight all the way to the end.
Here's Patricia, the longtime assistant under Belichick. Belichick at New England, 15 years ago. His last 6 as the D coordinator. Across the middle, and it's in and out of the hands of Galladay this time. He would have had enough for the first. Eddie Jackson helped break that one up.
It was an outstanding play. Watch Jackson at the top of your screen. This is cover 4. That means he has a deep 4th of the field all the way to the end zone, a quarter of it. So he got to protect the end zone, and he still runs in there and makes a play 12 yards down the field. That's really outstanding, knowing your technique, protecting deep, and then driving on the ball.
3rd and 11.
This is how you protect. You chip right here on the edges against the defensive ends and help out those tackles.
Pass underneath. That's Roberts. And the Bears are not going to let him get anywhere near the first. Only a gain of 5. Back out comes Sam Martin, the punter, who in that last game at Soldier Field a week and a half ago took a hit on a 3rd quarter punt. Stayed in the game, but later he had to leave the stadium in an ambulance. He ended up getting checked out and flying back to Detroit with the team that night. So he's fine. Martin's first punt traveled 53 yards. Try to pin the Bears inside the 10 if he can. Cohen's the returner. Angles it right side. And it's down near the 13. And that is Don Carey, who they just signed back this week after a 34-yard boot. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm, here to help life go right. The Home Depot, more saving, more doing. And by Kay Jewelers, for all the moments for love forever. The tradition since 1924, America's Thanksgiving Day Parade down Woodward Avenue in downtown Detroit.
And there you are. There's Courtney, Finley, and Jamison. The Nance family right there. That's pretty special right there. America's family.
What an honor to be a part of it. Tony Michaels and his team to put on this amazing parade attended by about 1 million people. Here's the first down handoff. They only picked up about a yard.
You know what, Jim? Can we take one more look at that hand wave? Look at this. Oh, that's fantastic.
I worked on this for weeks.
Man of the people right there. When he goes through airports, I'm telling you, it looks similar to this.
Just like that, right? I had a lot of people, though, shouting out, "Where's Tony?"
My mom and dad were there.
You're next. 2nd and 9. Daniel, nice throw on the run. And that's Gabriel with the catch and the first down. So more on Chase Daniel. You mentioned he's been around for a long time. Backed up Breeze for a long time. His last touchdown pass came back in 2013. He's played for 5 different organizations. You knew him back when he was at South Lake Carroll High School there in the Dallas area, where he was coached by Todd Dodge, former Longhorn quarterback.
Yeah, and that's when South Lake Carroll really came on and started dominating high school football down there. Done a great job, great organization there, great high school.
Here's a first down play. Daniel looks left, goes across the middle. Good throw, zips it in there too. And that's Trey Burton with the first down. You know, the interesting thing about Daniel is he is here because of a strong bond he has with Matt Nagy, the Bears head coach. Goes back to the days when Nagy was his position coach in Kansas City when he was a backup to Alex Smith. He was the quarterback coach, Matt was.
Yeah, that's so unique to have that ability as your head coach later on. He knows him so well. He knows what Chase likes. He's known it for 5 years, so this game is going to get called exactly the way that Chase likes it. Matt knows him.
First down, play action. Steps back to the 26 and now in trouble. And going to be taken down by a pair of Lions, including Damon Harrison.
And this is really a coverage sack. As you see, no Bears are going to end up being open. You see Daniel running, Chase running into Daniels. Trying to find a soft spot in the pocket. Good job by Harrison putting the pressure on.
And Akwara as well. So that makes it a 2nd and 16. Lions shove them back to about the 30. 6 snaps so far, only 1 rush by Chicago and a flag.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Brad Allen and his crew getting the assignment here at Ford Field. You know, when you're a backup quarterback, really a lifer backup quarterback in the league, it gets a little bit, the repetition, it's monotonous. You have to prepare like you're a starter every week. You just never know.
It's hard because you build up all this stuff in your brain, and then all of a sudden you don't get to play in the game, and you just got to shut off all that you learned all week.
There's a pass across the middle, Cohen for a short gain. And everyone will tell you that Chase Daniel, as far as prep, as a backup, being ready to go, it's as good as it gets.
Yeah, he's got great command of the huddle. His teammates respect him. His coaches love him. You don't last this long in the league without doing things the right way week in and week out. And I know his coaches are excited to see him play today, and I know he's excited. And you have better chances than 3rd and 17 earlier in the game here, but these are chances to step up.
Look at the Lions drop back. So they'll take what's given. Across the middle, the completion to Miller, and they'll be forced off the field. Daniel now 5 out of 7 for 40, but the sack changed that possession. O'Donnell back out for a 2nd time. Jones to return.
This happens a lot. The second time 2 teams play each other, especially in 10 days later, it's hard to come up with brand new plays offensively on a short week. So defenses, though, they're going to change up all the stuff that didn't work last time for sure. And you're seeing that right now on both these sides.
That's fielded at the 8 by T.J. Jones. And a good job by McManus wrapping him up after a 55-yard boot. So a 3rd career start versus 123rd straight start. 2 Dallas area products who actually have a little history competing against one another, but it was in another sport. They played in a high school baseball game against one another.
Yeah, it's you'd have figured they'd met on the football field, but different classes each high school.
And a slant over to Ellington, who they're keeping busy since just bringing him here about a week ago. Sunday on CBS, A Helping Hand is Heaven Sent in a new episode of God Friended Me. That's Sunday after 60 Minutes, only CBS. Lions quickly now to the line of scrimmage for a 2nd and 5. To the tight end, Wilson. He knows where that marker is. He's going to be double teamed and kept short by Roquan Smith and others.
And that ball keeps coming out of Stafford's hand quickly. Don't want to give up. They got sacked 10 times by Minnesota and then 6 by Chicago. So they went into Carolina, got rid of the ball really, really quickly on every single pass play other than a couple over the 4 quarters. And then you're seeing them continue with that. They had success last week. They're going to keep doing it. This is the key, though. You got to continue to get these 3rd and shorts when you're doing that.
Garrett Blunt is about a foot away from a first. They fake to him. Stafford's got time, and then completely covered up was Andy Jones. Nowhere to go. Great coverage down the field, and the Lions are, again, unable to get much more than a first down.
Yeah, and it's a great job by Fuller. on the back end looking down the field, and then he tries to come off to Andy Jones, who's just a late check down after a chip, and Callahan there the whole time.
In fact, they have only 2 first downs so far, none on that series, as Martin boots it away up to about the 35. Wiggling away from the first hit. That's Cohen stepping out of bounds. 3-yard run back after a 39-yard punt. Still scoreless. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Macy's and by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. Images from the Lions' Season of Sharing campaign. Many of the players serving up Thanksgiving dinner to more than 100 families from community centers around Detroit. As the Pilgrims have made their way to Ford Field, and here we go, 2 minutes to go. First quarter. Neither team has approached midfield. Little wide receiver screen over to Gabriel, and that is covered up quickly. That's Mike Ford, who saw his first action just Sunday against Carolina, had 29 plays and played well. Undrafted rookie out of Southeast Missouri.
Yeah, that's that. They're trying to find guys, because to me, Detroit in the secondary, they just really have not played good football this year. Darius Slay gives them a lot more ability to play different coverages and help other people. But without him, it's almost like every matchup is bad. You can't double everyone.
2nd and 13. Uh-oh, that's going to draw a flag. You betcha. Glover Quinn got a shot of the head of Daniel, who's up and communicating with him, saying no problem, but it is a problem. It's going to be 15 yards.
Glover Quinn, I mean, he sees him slide. You can't do that. That's definitely a penalty.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 27, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Sometimes it's tough for defenders to pull off once they start to slide. In this specific case, that's easy to tell. And he tried late after he knew he was wrong. They just get so excited wanting to hit the quarterback, the defender sometimes, and that's going to be called across the league. You can't hit them when they're sliding.
And Gene Steratore, no one, even Quinn's not going to argue that one.
No, the quarterback is sliding before the defender commits. You've got to stay away from that play.
First snap by either team in opponent territory as he dumps it over. Met right away. Cohen, good piece of tackling. You're talking about Darius Slay. You saw why he's such a key factor in that secondary.
Well, you're going to see Slay come out here, and he's going to take Cohen, the running back. And that's a big-time decision by Patricia here. Now what happens then is inside, you got the safety and linebacker can take Burton. So you're saying, we're going to take our best player, we're going to take your best player, you know, that's given them a lot of ability for big plays, and we're going to see what happens. If Lions win that matchup, that's big.
2nd and 10. Mizell gets the carry, and that's the first rush of any significance by either team. In fact, the longest carry we'd had in this game before that 7-yard cut by Mizell was a gain of 2. So quarter's going to come to an end. This is not exactly what we saw Monday night between the Rams and the Chiefs, and 105 total points.
Well, I'll tell you why when we come back with a little tease if you want to know.
Okay, I can't wait. Aerial coverage provided by State Farm. All the professional sports teams just a few blocks apart. Tigers next door. The Red Wings and the Pistons just a few blocks beyond that, off Woodward. And now here we are back to Ford Field. To start the second quarter, Jim Nance, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, Gene Steratore. 3rd and 3 for Chicago. And that'll pick, oh, the ball comes out. Is it a catch? Might have been a catch. Boy, he might have had it long enough. That's Jared Davis who scooped it up and will refuse until about 10 seconds to take him down. And the ruling on the field is it's a fumble. A catch fumble.
The ruling on the field is a catch followed by a fumble.
Well, you're going to see Shed gets his hand in right there and punches that ball out. Exact technique you teach on Burton. Burton goes up on a little stick route and then boom, punches that ball.
Gene, that's pretty quick. What do you think?
It is tight, but you also remember now the three elements. There's possession, second foot, and a time element to make a football move. I think all three of those meet. The time element's a little squeezed, but they rule fumble on the field. I don't think it's big enough to overturn.
Well, that's important right there. Obviously, you're getting a first down and you're in field goal range if you're Chicago.
The Bears, the best in the league in turnover margin, are the first to commit a mistake in this one, and Detroit is set up at the Chicago 40.
You know, what a perfect job by Shed, though. Right when he catches, you know you got help coming, and we're going to review.
And we're going to go to a quick break as they take a second look at that. All right, the ruling on the field stands. It's a turnover, fumble by Burton, and the recovery by Davis.
You can see the cradle starting to make a football move.
Lions from the 40 of Chicago. Center gets the run down to about the 32.
And this is Detroit when they're winning. In their 4 wins, they got over 600 yards rushing, and makes life a lot simpler for Stafford.
Yeah, but all of that was really about Kerryon Johnson, who's out today with that knee, and center goes again. It's going to be 3rd and a long 1 coming up. You mentioned there's not a lot of speed or playmaking ability in the lineup right now for the Lions, who recently traded away Golden Tate to the Eagles. Marvin Jones, he is out as well with a knee. And again, Kerryon Johnson, they feared it was an ACL tear. It's not. And they're hoping to have him back maybe as soon as their game some 10 days away. And they will host the Rams next. 3rd and 1. Stafford looking, and buying time. Fires it in there. Ellington has the first. So plenty of time for Stafford to operate and find someone open. Picks up 6 and a first.
Wonderful job by Stafford. He's going to find the soft spot in the pocket, and then all of a sudden Ellington just gives him a little room. But I mean, it's just really hard for the Lions. There's no one getting a ton of separation. It's a great job getting a first down. They're going to have to win the turnover battle, run the ball, be efficient, don't give up big plays on defense for them to win this football game. And right now, they're doing that.
Yes, they are, and they have kept Khalil Mack quiet for the first quarter and change, and pre-snap penalty coming.
False start. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. First down.
You know, the Lions find themselves, as you see, the little bobble.
Well, if I was going against Mack, I'd have a little bobble sometimes too, because he gets off the ball and he gives you up and under, and then power, then the swim move, and Decker knows what challenges ahead of him.
The Lions find themselves, Tony, at 4-6. Snapped the 3-game losing streak Sunday with a win against Carolina. Win against New England week 3 of the season. They've beaten some good teams. Here's his 1st and 15. And that is Roberts.
Yeah, and I'm anxious to see him, you know, with full health. You know, we talked about it on defense. They traded and got Harrison, which has really helped in the run game. Slay was injured. He's back. He helps them a lot because you can put him on the other team's best player and double other people and use that Belichick, Patricia, you know, specialty on the defensive side. And then you go and you get a young guy like Kennard, and they use him like Ninkovich all over the field. I mean, it'll be fun to watch them. Offensively, they just don't have the juice down the field. Stafford's going to have to make a big play, throw it up to Galladay. There's going to be 1 or 2 times in this game, and they're going to have to come down with it.
2nd and 11. And another whistle before the snap. Did they get caught? Looks like they did.
Prior to the snap. Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
In the NFC North, game-and-a-half lead for the Bears at 7-3 for first-year coach Matt Nagy. 4 straight wins, first for the franchise since 2012. Mike Zimmer's team at 5-4-1. Green Bay can't win on the road. Having 5 losses on the road for Aaron Rodgers and company. And Patricia's bunch, 3 of the 4 wins have come here. Facing a 2nd and 16. Open at the 20. And near the first down, that is TJ Jones.
Well, TJ Jones gets a little bit away with a push. Looking at the top. Boom. He goes up and pushes right into Fuller, but that's kind of the way they're going to have to get open, because Fuller's not scared of the down the field threat on some of these. But that's a really good route by Jones, giving the quarterback a throw.
They got 3rd and a foot. Last time they had 3rd and a foot, they didn't get the ball to LeGarrette Blount. They went up top and threw it incompletion. This time they go to him. And the big back leans forward. Eddie Goldman trying to plug it. Let's see where they spot it.
This one's close. It kind of looked like he got it by the extra effort, but he looks short there. But it looked like he kind of reached out with the ball. Yeah, this will be a perfect angle right here. Let's see where that ball hits. Right there.
Basically had to get,
they had it right.
Going for it on 4th down, 4th and inches. And they're going to go up top. Stafford pass batted and then caught by Bellore. It was deflected by Trevathan, and off the rebound, first down, gain of 5.
This ball doesn't have a chance of being caught unless it gets tipped. And Bellore with a great heads-up play. First down.
First down. Amukamara is down, and we'll be right back. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. And by the Ford F-Series, built Ford tough, built Ford proud. So Nick Bellore, who came into the league undrafted out of Central Michigan, spent the first 4 years of his career with the Jets as a linebacker, then went over to the 49ers, made a career change to the offensive side a couple years ago. He keeps this drive going with the 4th down catch. Here's a running play, and bursting up ahead, down to about the 4, Theo Riddick for 7.
Well, just a great little draw play. And Riddick, when he comes in, you're thinking pass. But this week now with Johnson out, there's really no tendency right now, and so they put him in on first down, run the ball, get the right look. Great job of Jim Bob Cooter.
2nd and 3. There's a give. Blount. 2nd effort. Touchdown, Detroit. Oh, they had him. Amos had him. And Blount, who's had a whole career out of knowing how to find the end zone.
This is why you have him. You're going to see him come across, and here comes Amos right here. Going to meet him in the hole. Right there. Whew. And Blount just gets through the tackle.
And crawls to the end zone.
And crawls, yes.
Yeah.
But this is why you get a big back. You're going to go bring them down on these short yardage. You know, they went for it on 4th and 1. When you got a back like Blount, you should just, I feel like you just give it to them.
Well,
2 times they've thrown it. They've gotten away with it because of the tip ball. But right down here, this ball was going to him, and you see Amos tries to get low, does a good job, but just still couldn't bring him down.
Touchdown is confirmed. Blount, you remember, of course, those days with the Patriots, last year with the Eagles, a 3-time Super Bowl champion. He led the league back in 2016 with 18 rushing touchdowns. That's his 4th of the year for the Lions. Extra point is good by Matt Prater. 40-yard drive after the Burton fumble. We'll be back in 30 after this from State Farm. Lions strike first. And the Bears, first time to trail in 5 games.
Well, you know, the last time these two teams played, I think it was 26-0.
It was.
Bears right out the gate. So the Lions knew they had to come out. They want if the Lions had any chance to win this game, they couldn't get behind like that, because then all of a sudden you're unleashing Mack in the pass rush. And there's the defensive coordinator, Paul Pasqualoni.
You know him well.
Yeah, talking to Matt Patricia.
Paul, former assistant for Coach Parcells in Dallas.
Yeah, he was there when I first got in the NFL, and it's a rarity. Coach Parcells said, "Hey, Paul, I want you to come in. You're going to coach with us." He's like, "Okay, well, what position?" And he goes, "I don't know yet. Just come on.
Come on down here. We'll figure it out."
And then they made him he's always been a defensive coach. And they said, "Okay, you're going to coach tight ends," and Jason Witten and Dan Campbell. He's like, "I don't know as much about tight ends." He's like, "You will."
It's the genius of Bill Parcells.
It is.
Right
he takes
there.
a good coach and he puts him. And of course, Paul did a great job. Witten, Campbell, they loved him.
Former Syracuse head coach, of course. So the Lions have almost double time of possession. Running play, first down, and it's Howard. Give him about 3.
I think you're going to see a little more misdirection out of Chicago. They started this game in static formations, people standing around in their position and then running a route. But I think what's happened to the league a little bit is you're getting a lot more motion, a lot more horizontal type plays and misdirection. And I think you're going to see Chicago start to do a little bit of that.
3 plays and a punt, 1 first down and a punt, and then a fumble the last time. Quickly now, getting the ball over. Give it to Hans Gabriel. He's got the first. Taylor Gabriel. He's now got 46 catches on the season. Played for the Falcons a year ago, and he's looked really good here in this season with Chicago.
He's fast. I mean, until you play against Chicago, you don't really realize Cohen is a nightmare matchup. Then you got the speed of Gabriel, who's got to be a 4-2, 4-3 guy. And then you got a good tight end in Burton, a system that's very tough to deal with. Now watch a motion, a different guy coming across the field on all these plays.
What a different formation. They had Leno, their tackle, lined up in a slot on the right. But a running play up the middle for very little. 2nd and 7 coming up, and Daniel so far 9 out of 11, but he hasn't thrown anything down the field too much. Longest pass play, 11 yards to Burton. And of course, Burton was the one who fumbled as well. So Daniel goes out of the gun here from the 38.
And there goes one of those motions across the field.
There's a good pass. What a hit and a catch. Burton holding on to that and just able to shake off Quinn after he gets up. 13 yards. There's our longest pass play now.
Well, you're going to see Burton here after the motion. That motion gets the leverage to create the outside lane. You see Glover Quinn come in and make the tackle. But that's what makes it difficult on defenses. When you get guys running really fast before the snap, the jet concept, the jet sweep people talk about where you can hand off, or the motion behind, there's a lot of communication that takes place on the defensive side of the ball.
You saw Trubisky cheering on that effort. Play action, trying to freeze him. Look out, got rid of it just in time. Took a big hit, but he's back up on his feet. Ezekiel Ansah was the one who was flying in after Chase Daniel.
Well, Ansah comes from the backside, and this is when he's in the game and Slay's in the game, and now you got Harrison. I've been waiting to see how good this defense really is, because this is a formidable unit now. Without those 3 guys, it's not very good. With them, all of a sudden it's like, ooh, we got some players, and you got to defend, Ansah all the time on passing downs.
2nd and 10. And they're able to prevent Cohen from going anywhere. Kennard was able to chase him down and never give him the edge. Loss of 3.
Kennard is outstanding. Watch on the end here. So 42 Kennard. Cam Newton didn't keep any of the zone read stuff last week because Kennard is too smart. He plays both. He plays the leverage of the running back and the quarterback. And he did it again there where he shed the tackle. He's their Ninkovich, that guy who can kind of do a little bit of everything. He's really smart, the way they used him in New England.
3rd and 13. Daniel down on the field. What a catch. The throw was there. Robinson getting hold of it for the first time in this game for 29.
Chase Daniel holds his eyes right down the middle of the field and throws a perfect ball on the outside. And you see a little hand action between Slay and Robinson, and really just the ball's in a perfect spot. And Robinson, just that little baby little push, gets him a little separation.
And that's the longest play of the game by either side. Again, Robinson, 133 and a pair of touchdowns against Detroit 11 days ago. Another pass down the field and over the head of Robinson. He returned the football in the direction of the wideout who blew out a knee week 1 a year ago for the Jags and then got a rich free agent contract in the offseason. He's battled injury, missed a couple of games this year, but back healthy here the last couple of weeks.
And it makes a difference. Detroit's tape, you look at without Slay, there's a ton of separation. Slay plays, and all of a sudden everything's a tough contested throw. Now you're going to get Ansah back and playing a lot more, and balls are coming out faster. Everyone's better.
2nd and 10. Howard. Nowhere. Christian Jones.
Well, Christian Jones is a big linebacker, and I mean big, I mean size-wise. Look at that. He's 6'3", 245, and when he comes downhill, he's going to hit you. That's exactly what he's in the game for, is on a possible run in the A or B gap.
3rd and 9 coming up. Daniel's already thrown it 15 times. And a timeout by the defense. And we'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Lowe's. So the Lions take the timeout there, Tony. It'll be a 3rd and 9 coming up for Chicago.
Yeah, they do it just because of the formation and the communication. Somebody on the defensive unit, you know, when you're doubling people, so the Belichick and Patricia defensive system means that we're going to take away what you're really good at or your best player. Well, in that specific case, it wasn't a good, basically, alignment that they loved to do what they wanted. So they adjusted. Before, these guys were a lot closer around these guys. Now they're back off.
From the pocket, Daniel has an open man, just out of reach for Tariq Cohen. Fractionally overthrown.
Well, this is going to be outstanding. He's going to go up and out like it's just a normal route by the running back, and he goes up the field. And Diggs, who's on him, he goes, I know this, or I've seen it a million times. He goes, oh no! He goes up the field. And Chase Daniel wishes he had that one back because it's just high.
Cody Parkey. He made all 3 field goal attempts Sunday night. This from 40, and Parkey able to knock it through. Trubisky thought they had it. Settled for a field goal.
As we celebrate our blessings, our families and our crew would like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Brad Allen, great bunch of guys. Gene Steratore, we enjoyed having dinner with the officials at our traditional dinner with our CBS family. And they tore up the buffet last night with your brethren.
They sure did, Jim. It was
job.
great to see some faces, and you know, a smart referee never misses a free meal.
Aren't you guys getting fed? Did they give you a little per diem?
We get a little bit from them, yes.
That was fun. Be able to break bread with all of them. And they're all anxious, like we all are, Eventually to be able to have the Thanksgiving celebration with the family a little later in the day. So we've seen a lot of passes. Again, not a whole lot down the field except for the pass to Robinson. 16 attempts by Chase Daniel. 13 out of 15 for the game is Stafford.
Yeah, this isn't normal for Chicago, but for Detroit, this is exactly what they did last week. You know, you threw for 220 yards with a lot of pass attempts, but that's the recipe for them to keep these games close and to, you know, just allow 1 or 2 big plays at the right moment. You can win the game.
And combined 77% passing. They flip it around to Ellington. Bears are waiting for him, and they trip him up. Ball comes out, and the ball is down. And that will prevent Mack from finding the end zone. And nope, Stafford, you don't need to lower that shoulder.
Second down.
Oh, this is
okay. Incomplete.
Let's see.
What they're ruling him down by with the ground can't cause the fumble right there.
Yeah,
Gene.
That's down, right, Gene?
Ground can't cause a fumble. I think it's a great ruling on the field.
But this Bears defense, when that ball is loose, as I said, they have 5 defensive touchdowns. They know how to smell that end zone.
They score when they get it. You saw all the people know right where to go to block. They practice it.
2nd and 8. That pass too low to be caught by Jones.
And you're seeing just there's no separation. I mean, I talk about juice. They don't have guys who can just get away from someone 2 yards and all of a sudden Stafford just throws it and he gets 15 up the sideline on a crossing route. Everything is tough, and that's why I think you have to play the game a certain way, Detroit, to win, you know, just really any game, and rely on your defense a little bit, run the ball, and then take your shot at the right moment.
3rd and 8. Mack ready to make a play. Standing up right on the down and distance. He tries to go inside, and from the outside, Stafford cannot get away from Smith. Loss of 7.
Well, look at Riddick here. He's got to block Smith, and Smith just goes right by. And that's the thing. When you have small backs, sometimes it's tough. As you see, 3 guys are going to help on Mack and make sure he doesn't disrupt the game. But great job by Vic Fangio sending pressure up the middle. We're going to use Mack. You block him. Here comes the middle linebacker on your tailback.
Yeah, you're going to put that many bodies on Mack. You're going to have a guy like Roquan running around making a sack like he did. Here's Martin. And we're going to see a return. Cohen. Let's try the other way. And look at this. Center, though, is there with the angle and goes out of bounds with him. 2:10 to go in the first half, and our Thanksgiving football weekend continues with the SEC on CBS. Tomorrow, Arkansas takes on Missouri. And Saturday, the 83rd edition of the Iron Bowl. Auburn and #1 Alabama. The Tigers look for back-to-back Iron Bowl wins and try to end the Tide's 25 home game winning streak. That's the next 2 days. Of course, we got a doubleheader day coming up with the NFL on CBS on Sunday. All of that coming up on your football holiday weekend.
So you got the 2-minute situation here. I'd like to sneak a run in simply because you're going to the 2-minute warning. So if you wanted to, this is the time. Hand the ball off, a short pass, something efficient.
To Gabriel. That's efficient, 11 yards in the first, but it goes out of bounds with 2:04.
Well, that's even better.
Nagy, another Andy Reid disciple. And we have reached the 2-minute warning. 7-3 Lions, and you're watching the NFL on CBS. Happy Thanksgiving. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Aquaman. In theaters December 21st, rated PG-13. And by Walmart. Light up Christmas at Walmart. Bears Lions, 2 minutes to go first half. The 1 touchdown scored by LeGarrette Blount of the Lions earlier in this quarter. Now the Bears with a 1st and 10. All 3 timeouts to play with. And that's caught sliding down. Gabriel.
You got plenty of time right now. With 3 timeouts, you're not even going no huddle. If you do, you go a muddle huddle, we call it, which means guys come together for a little bit and you just tell them, hey, let's get up, run scat, I'll call a play. Line up, double right. Right now, they're just calling the play in the huddle. Got to make sure you get into field goal range is the first thing, and then you start to get aggressive from there.
Perfect throw down to the 20 with Miller.
Same thing, get back in the huddle. And you see a great job of Daniel in the softest spot of the pocket. Miller just on the deep over, and they really like him. He's got, you know, that ability from inside just to get across the field. He's physical, he's fast.
Daniel's doing what he said to us last night I'm going to do. He said, I'm just going to sling it. And he's slinging it impressively. He's going down the field. They've been accurate. Now a little long on the Cohen pass to the end zone, but throwing a good football. 1st and 10. And Mizell near another 1st. In fact, he's got enough at the 10. Gene Steratore, good to have you out in the field. You've been in the studio. How are you enjoying your first year? Away from the field, away from the court.
Really enjoying it. It's great to be back in the stadium, though. You know, you don't realize how much you miss that until you get back on location.
Well, I know with basketball season starting up, too. I mean, you were one of the best in college basketball, too. So it's got to be a whole new world for you. Happy Thanksgiving. I know you're heading to Sandusky, Ohio.
I'm going to go right past Sandusky into Pittsburgh to hopefully get some leftovers. I'm
going to be right behind you on the way around the lake.
Are you guys okay to finish the game before you guys take off, or should we?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well, Gene said there's a lasagna waiting for him.
That's exactly right. Turkey lasagna today, guys.
Yep. It's great to have you, Gene. You've done a great job.
Great to be here. Thanks.
Daniels hit all 4 passes on this drive for 55 yards. He's got 1st and goal.
And motion the tailback all the way across. You see how many guys for the Lions, miscommunication.
To the end zone, wide open, Mizell with the touchdown. Flag is out. Flag is out.
Yeah, this is coming back. This has to be a pick play. I think Allen Robinson went too far upfield to set the pick. It's got to happen at the line of scrimmage. And Matt Nagy saying, I just called the perfect play. What are you talking about? Patricia was yelling, saying, they picked us.
There is no foul for offensive pass interference. The result of the play is a touchdown.
Okay, I didn't hear that. Did he say they picked it up?
Gene, what did you see there?
He did. He said he picks it up. I think what they thought was that receiver turn, looking back at the quarterback, which gave them enough to give him a feeling like he was looking for the ball. I know his intent's to pick him, but I think after discussion, they think the receiver sold it enough that he was looking back and not there just to impede the defender. Little discussion on the field by the officials.
You can see Robinson putting his hands out. See there? Is he just acting, or is that?
That's the way you teach it. You want him to act it. And the Bears are going for 2.
Which is not something that they're unaccustomed to.
A lot of new analytics out there. This is a lot of stuff just tells you. Now, you got to motion or do something from here. Yeah, exactly.
Pass incomplete. Went to Robinson. That was the 2nd career touchdown pass for Daniel.
Well, you got to give him credit. I mean, this is a really good start for him. Missed on the one around the side, but this play's going around the league. You throw it real quick with 2 blockers. It's basically a screen. Darius Slay was in there real close, but for 2 yards, I like going for 2 if you think you have a great play. If you have to throw a fade or you need everything to go right and you need the correct look, then you don't want to. Matt Patricia's still upset about the
touchdown.
Pick call.
Yeah, pick call that they picked up the flag. So coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cowher. highlights, analysis of the first half, Verizon halftime report. And our warmest Thanksgiving wishes to all of them, our buddies back in Studio 43. That was the first career touchdown for Mizell. Bears went 65 yards in 5 plays to take the lead at 9-7. Parkey will not allow a return. So now flip it for the Lions. You got 40 seconds. You got 2 timeouts, Tony.
Yeah, and this is exactly, you're in a position where first down matters more than really any other time. If you get a good play on first down, you're into your 2-minute mode. You're going to use your timeouts, and you're going to try and push the ball down the field and get in field goal range. If you don't get a good play on first down, your job now is to make sure that the other team doesn't get the ball back with a punt and all of a sudden at the 50 or 45 and have an opportunity.
Matt Prater's season long is 54, but his career long is the longest in NFL history, 64. And getting out of bounds with it, with the catch, is Ellington again.
Now you're in a perfect situation. You feel comfortable. You're not scared at all about being aggressive now. You know the other team doesn't have an opportunity to get it back and probably get a field goal. So you're definitely in 2-minute mode, which is the only time that Detroit was successful. Last time they played Chicago was at the end of that game, and they were behind by a lot. They went right into this mode and let Stafford be Stafford.
And Jim Bob Cooter calling the plays, the coordinator. Little confusion there. Went over the head of Wilson toward Galladay, incomplete. Galladay with only 1 catch so far for 3 yards.
Yeah, it's a pretty good ball to Galladay. Just the ball felt like it had to come out in Stafford's mind because of the pressure. Could have sat for a second and thrown it, but down here you see Galladay. I doubt he's going to get one-on-one matched up, but if he does, Stafford will take him. But there's a safety at the top of the screen you can't see.
31 seconds. Riddick ducks under and only able to get about 3 yards after the contact by Roquan Smith and a timeout. Called by Detroit, leaving them with 1. And again, the Verizon halftime report. Straight ahead. JB and all the crew. Now, Gene, you've been in the studio all season long. Tony, I can attest from years past, it is the ultimate feast. I mean, everybody comes in, all the brass, everybody comes in because of the buffet that's at the Broadcast Center on Thanksgiving. Something special.
Exactly.
You missed it, Gene.
I did miss it. I'll talk to some of the guys back in the studio, see if they can save me some leftovers for the weekend.
For
How's
Sunday.
that?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. 3rd and 7. See if they pressure up the middle again. These linebackers in an empty formation.
Pass away. And thrown down by Smith, a yard short of first, is Roberts. Clock running down.
So you see an empty formation. There's 5 offensive linemen that can block. And if this guy comes, it's an extra defender because Stafford tells the line who to block. He points to the right. Chicago brings it from the left. And all of a sudden, an extra guy gets pressure.
I hope they took a timeout. You got to give yourself a shot at a throw down the field. Why not?
Oh, yeah, they took a timeout. They just took it with 1.
Well, everybody's already walking off the field because the clock did run out on them. And in fact, they got the halftime equipment in the far end zone, was already halfway out onto the field.
Roll it back in.
Of course, I have seen one of the all-time Hail Marys in this very stadium on a Thursday night several years back. Aaron Rodgers, last play of the game, going in this same direction. There's the stage. That was already past the end zone because the clock did run down. Yep, that was...
So the reason you take it down to 1 second and don't try and go for it is because if you don't get this, you're giving the other team, you know, if they call the timeout with 15 seconds, you don't get it. So this is your opportunity to get a play and not have to give up anything to the other side.
Whistle, though, timeout called by Chicago before the snap.
please restore the game clock to 1 second as prior to the snap. Charge timeout, Chicago.
Pylons are being put back into place. They had already been picked up as well. Get back off this field. Now let's set the stage. One more time.
I'll be shocked if he gets this ball off, if you want to know the truth. You're going to see he's on the backer right here. He's on the running back, linebacker on the running back. And he's going to hug rush, which means when he blocks, he's going to rush as well and try and get the quarterback.
Oh, they're bringing everybody.
Yep.
And Stafford, you were right, Tony. Never had a chance.
Good luck getting that off.
Deion Bush was the one who got to him. Nine points in the final 4 minutes of the first half, so Chicago has the lead at the intermission. And halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. Great to share your Thanksgiving holiday with all of you. Thank you for being with us here as we go to our State Farm replay. Helping plays go right, presented by State Farm. The game's touchdown for the Bears was Daniel to Mizell. They scored 9 points to close out the first half, have the lead 9-7 at the intermission. Not seeing much on the ground. Both quarterbacks throwing it quite a bit. And Chase Daniel is doing just a fine job.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing an efficient job. Both these teams, you know, it's just a short week. It's hard to get great plays in offensively. And, you know, the best 2 plays of the game were basically wheel routes or a form of it by the running back. And the Bears connected on 1 and 2, and that's the touchdown.
Sam Martin sending it down 3 yards deep. Mizell, the touchdown maker for Chicago, will take the touch back. Tracy, let's check in with you.
Well, Jim, Matt Nagy attributed the slow start on offense to guys just trying to get into a rhythm with Chase Daniel. They have had no live action with him at all, so they were just trying to find their rhythm. He said Chase Daniel is handling the offense well. He likes his command of the huddle. I asked him about going for 2 on that touchdown, and he said that is something they did discuss before the game. Didn't want to give me a reason why, but guys, a lot of kickers have mixed extra points this year in this stadium, Jim.
Yeah, that's been rough for opposing kickers here. There's no doubt about it. And they were 3 for 3 on the season, 1 for 2s before that miss. There's a pass over to Gabriel for another 9. That's now 17 completions by Daniel. His 16 in the first half, Tony. That's the most by the Bears in any first half this year.
Well, you can tell Detroit is trying to minimize the big play. They had way too many big plays, you know, in the first time these 2 teams met. So you're seeing Chicago just take what they're giving you. Detroit's being soft in certain areas. And it's a good job by Chase Daniel just taking what they give you.
They have not picked up a first down by rush so far in this game. Have a chance to do it here, perhaps. 2nd and 1. And there you go. The first down on the ground in this game. So both quarterbacks hovering around 80%. That's the first half now. Add another completion for Daniel on his ledger. 153 yards, a 29-yard pass to Robinson. A 26-yard pass to Miller in that last drive before the half that led to the touchdown.
And that's the difference with Stafford. He just doesn't have those 2 big plays in there that Daniel got, and that's what you're going to have to do. If you're going to win the game today, there's got to be 1 or 2 in there that allow you to get points and not have to work at 12, 13, 14-play drives.
Well, what do you call him? Burton out there trying to throw a block on Slay, and he's got a pickup of about 5. By the way, the Bears now have a second half lead, as they have in every game this year. Came in with a 7-3 record. The only other team in the league to lead in the second half at some point in every game, Nagy's former team, Kansas City.
And that tells you that those teams are good. You can't lead in the second half of every game this late in the year unless you're a good football team. You don't just There's bad scheming days. There's bad, just all of a sudden someone's hurt. Something goes against you, the bounce of the ball. Good football teams, both of them.
Here's a 2nd and 5 play. He's going to go over to the sideline to Cohen, who's got another first down. Trubisky, again, inactive, right shoulder injury, late in the game. We asked Nagy, at what point did you finally just say, I got to rule him out? He said it didn't really come to about Tuesday night. Had it been just a regular week of preparation, he thought there was a chance he could have played. It was a Sunday game. But he's coming on as this season evolves, and he leads, talking about Trubisky, all quarterbacks in rushing this year.
Yeah, he does a great job. When he decides to go, he's just moving the chains. Like, how many times on 3rd down have we seen him just use his legs after looking for 2 people?
Cohen tripped up, but he's on the other side of the 50. And the Bears coming out, they got a nice little drive to start the 3rd quarter.
It's such a weapon to have a quarterback who can move and, get the first down on 3rd and 3 with his legs, because it just requires schematically a different way of the defense game planning. And this is really efficient. I mean, for Chase to come in here not having to rep anything all week, it's all walkthrough. He didn't get a chance to be like, okay guys, I want you doing this on that route, not that.
Here's Howard.
Well done.
And a 2nd and 3 play, and we're going to just move the pile for yet another first down. It's really true. It was not a chance to really have any practice time with first team reps. I mean, they didn't get finished by the time they left Soldier Field on Sunday night. You're talking about midnight or so. Brought them in about 2 o'clock on Monday.
Yeah, the funny thing is that was his last start, I think. Andy Reid called him on a Friday.
Well, it was Christmas night too.
Yeah, that was in 2014, I think. And he's like, hey, you're gonna play.
Yeah, he's had a chance
in what? In the game?
A little shuttle pass to Burton. Yeah, it was a Christmas night call, and he had basically no chance to run any first team reps, and he went and performed fine. Season ender of 2014.
I guess he's used to just playing with no reps during the week and coming out, but he's handled himself very well so far in this football game.
He has 8 straight completions, and he's lined up in the gun at the Lions 40. Burton took his eye off of it. Burton with 4 catches in this game. He did cough up the football that led to the Lions touchdown. With the 4 catches, that's one that should have been number 5. He's got a new career high for catches in a season with 38 in his 5th year. The former Eagle.
And that's surprising, because Mitch actually was with Philly, and they had a lot of work together. And they were both in the 2nd and 3rd team over there, so they know each other well. That's the one guy he knows real well.
3rd and 8. With Daniel tripped up from behind. Ansah able to get to him. And he's been rambunctious a couple of times today.
Oh, here's Burton, and this is a killer. Watch, he's going to run a seam right up the middle. It looks like a safety's there, so Chase doesn't go there. But look at right there, the busted coverage right down the middle. And he had him. He just was reading the other side, and then he started moving around. But boy, Burton got open on Shed there.
So the 2nd sack of the game by the Lions. And O'Donnell has had 15 punts this season inside the 20, and he was really looking for a little more than just that. But a fair caught by T.J. Jones at the 18. Aerial coverage is provided by State Farm. Coming back inside Ford Field, the Thanksgiving Day tradition continues. It started in Detroit back in 1934. First opponent, the Chicago Bears. Stafford has to throw it away.
And you see him move in the pocket again right there, trying to change the launch point. And Khalil Mack in this game, they're neutralizing him. He has no sacks, and he's got no tackles because they're getting the ball off quick. and they're moving the pocket too. Let's move it to the right. You just saw the bootleg play on the last one. And so they're not going to let Mack make a game-changing play. The problem is, for them to win this game, at some point, you're going to have to risk it and have him go one-on-one or a little chip to score a touchdown, because that's the only way you're going to create a big play.
Here's a run up the middle by Blunt near the first down marker. He's been averaging only about 2.3 yards an attempt this year. And again, his action has been trimmed with Kerryon Johnson.
And you see right here, right when we say no tackles, he goes, I just heard you guys upstairs.
Yeah,
I'm going to go get a tackle real quick.
That happens. But Kerryon Johnson has assumed that job and taken snaps away from both Blunt and Riddick. Of course, again, just joining us, Kerryon Johnson out with a knee. Inches shy of a first. Blunt, another handle. Got the room to easily get the first at the 30.
Well, remember, basically the third time now they've had a short yardage situation, and they finally hand it off. And that's what Blunt is here for. I mean, that's his strength is right there, down by the goal line and on short yardage. And he's helping them today.
Lions with only 38 yards rushing for the game. It's on 11 attempts. Bears defense has held the last 4 teams under 100 yards rushing. Best in the league against the run. And here's a 1st and 10. The pressure coming. That was Smith that forced Stafford to unload. Stafford saying, hey guys, I need a little help here.
Well, the pressure's going to come up the middle, and you see Stafford, he's supposed to get help inside. So you never want to let the guy inside come free. You want people to block the inside defenders, and the outside guy comes free. That way the quarterback can throw it and beat the outside rusher. And the tackle and the running back both go to the guys outside and leave the inside backer to come free, and Stafford's not happy.
2nd and 10. To the ground, trying to cut outside, now back middle. Riddick for 5. 3rd and 5 on the way. Well, you looked at the Lions, they've got all these connections to the Patriots. Bob Quinn, their general manager, who picked up a couple of good guys in the draft, like we've mentioned a few times. Kerryon Johnson, they're happy with the guard that they took in the 1st round as well. Of course, he brings his pal Patricia over from New England. What do you think's next up for them as far as help?
Well, I think what you're finding with Detroit right now, they got a couple of good young players. They need weapons on the outside. I mean, people who have real speed. I also want their offense. You see that little motion there? They got to do more of that. You can't just live in this. As you see, just another punt with a short screen pass out there. Well done by Trevathan to be prepared for it, but you know, you just can't. You see how stagnant this is? Everyone's standing there. It's just a screen, so it's not a big deal on this one. But throughout the game, Detroit, the league is going to motion, misdirection. You're seeing so much of it before the snap. Detroit does very little of it. It's a little bit, you know, to a point where I'm like, boy, if you don't have a lot of weapons, you can't just stand out there like it's Aaron Rodgers, Greg Jennings, Finley. I mean, all these guys need to just throw a gun and let Aaron do what he wants. It's just, you got to get people open.
Look at this. Cohen with a nice return before center forces him out. Great starting field position coming up for the Bears with the lead at 9-7 in the 3rd. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by American Express, reminding you to shop small on November 24th. State Farm, here to help life go right. And by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Tony, we enjoyed hosting all the crew for our annual bowling tournament over at the Garden Bowl, downtown Detroit.
Is it allowed to win your own event?
I tried not to, but I tell you, Kevin and Jen came up so strong. They carried the team to an amazing victory. You guys were the #1 seed going to the finals, and then Tom Brewer, well, he found the gutter.
Well, I told him we can't win our own event.
Jim Rickoff didn't help much either. Here's a pass to about the 48. Robinson make it the 46.
And you see just the fight right here, but Slay makes it difficult because he's a difference maker in that secondary.
Great catch here.
That's an outstanding catch. Tell you what, Robinson, that could have gone the other way real quick.
Very easily. He showed some good form at the lanes the other night. Shouldn't be surprised.
I'm a terrible bowler, but I appreciate you.
Somewhere around that same yardage total that Daniel has right now, you were 183, as Daniel cuts his losses and ducks down, setting up third down.
Well, this is a staple. They've run it 3 times now. This is a run pass option. The running back can run here. He can give it to him. If not, we're going to have a screen right over here. The problem is Daniel didn't throw it. Didn't hand it off, and then you don't throw it. Well, then you got to just run up the middle, but that's not designed to run up the middle. He just didn't pull the trigger on the screen.
3rd and 3. Crowd trying to, once again, urge this Lions defense to make a play. Daniel still has it. He's got the numbers, too. Oh, what a hit on the sideline. There's a flag out. Before that hit, that was Diggs who jarred him on the sideline.
That's going to be a penalty on Burton.
Holding. Offense, number 80. 10-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
And Daniel got lit up at the end of the play. Burton's going to grab right there.
There's the hold on Burton. Gene Steratore, and some might say, man, is that unnecessary roughness? That late hit, say out of bounds.
That's just good football.
It was. Hit him about 2 yards in the field of play. 3rd and 11. Here comes Ansah. Ansah can't bring him down. And Daniel able to save the sack with an incompletion at the feet of Burton.
That's the difference. Detroit, when healthy, has Ansah, Slay. Everything gets harder. And right now, instead of standing in that pocket and waiting for a deep over or something down the field, 15 yards, the opposing quarterback has to get rid of the football. He's been playing a few more plays each game. You know, just give him 10 plays, 15. They're starting to sprinkle in more and more, making sure.
Getting healthy.
It's healthy.
After a 12-sack season a year ago. O'Donnell bounding into the end zone. 4.5 to go. Quarter 3. Bears still on top. All right, Lions step up to the 20-yard line, trying to get something going. Their touchdown came on just a short field, 40 yards after a takeaway. Start the drive with a handoff to Blunt, and he's got 8.
This is what I like to see. Now we're going to get the jet motion, and you're going to see him come across the field. Just misdirection. Now all of a sudden these linebackers, they can't just go right to the running game. All of a sudden the backside flow. Really well done, and it was a great job firing in there by Callahan, but he still doesn't make the play. But that's what Detroit needs to do. More misdirection. Don't allow the defense just to tee off and everyone will line up in the same spot, and then let's run a play because we're really talented. You don't have a lot of juice on the outside.
Amukamara, who was shaken up earlier in this game, was back out for that last play, and now once again gets help to the sideline. Kevin Tolliver comes in for him. He's been on Galladay, who has been pretty much silenced. Just 1 catch for 3 yards. See if they try to take advantage. Down the field they go. There he is. It's Galladay. And Roquan Smith able to stop it from going the distance.
Just an incredible. This is what you do. He's right here. He's the point. He's going to pretend like I'm just going to go over here and then go up the sideline. And this is where Smith gets in trouble from the opposite side right here, actually, because his eyes are in the backfield. And it's really difficult on a defender because you got 3 or 4 guys going the opposite way in the run game. They save that play for right there. That's what you needed. 1 or 2 plays that get you down the field to get you points.
And again, they had Amukamara come out. He had been on him. And they went right away to Galladay. 1 for 4 down to the 25. This Galladay, just in his second year, drafted in the 3rd round a year ago out of Northern Illinois.
They like him, and they should. And he's a big target, big, strong hands, and your ability to have a quarterback who can throw it down the field. You can just throw back shoulders, different things like that. You'll see that in the 2-minute.
Take the handoff and fire it down the sideline at the 10. That's Riddick. He may have stepped out earlier. He did. Back at the 8. Theo Riddick sets up goal to go.
And you see the motion, Jim? All of a sudden, the pass rush isn't as good. Everyone gets a little bit. This is why offenses are giving defenses trouble right now. The communication aspect with the jet motion. It's really what has changed the NFL. You just cannot be as... Ooh, that's close. But the right call out of bounds. You cannot just go downhill or just take your guy, because all of a sudden there's a switch that happens. A guy's running full speed across the field horizontally. Spreads you out.
From the 8, 1st and goal. Blunt veers right, takes it to the 4. Amos ends it at the 4. 2nd and goal coming up with 2 minutes to go in the 3rd. Jim Bob Cooter, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he was just listening because they started to run a little misdirection, just a little bit of that motion stuff, and now all of a sudden the defense, they're not quite as aggressive coming downhill on every play. See if they give you a little misdirection here.
Mack just running off the field. 2nd and goal. Galladay on the near side. He's a big target. Got some size. But they're going to run it left. Blunt moving the pile. Driving. And look at him. Take it home. For the 2nd time. LeGarrette Blunt with a touchdown.
Oh, here comes Detroit. Using Blunt and his size and ability, short yardage, red zone, 2nd touchdown today. He's looking, look at this, as he gets out wide, 1 cut up, and now there's really not a big hole, and he just carries people. You can't arm tackle him. Someone's got to get low, take out his legs, and you see Detroit's going for 2 now.
With the score at 13-9, and look at the Bears, they're not set. Mukamara at the top is back into the game.
You got this right here, Galladay.
Back to the end zone, and no flag. Fuller had his back turned. Galladay was the target. And each team now with missing 2-point attempts. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. It's not everybody's favorite holiday. Well, we hope you're having a good one. Stafford and the Lions go for 2. What'd you think of that, Tony?
Well, I don't love it there. And I keep going back to 2 reasons. One, I don't love that play. I don't like the leverage and having to run a corner route and a roll out. That's just not what I would have done there. And then 2, it's 13-9. You kick an extra point, it's 14-9. If the Bears score a touchdown, you're forcing them to go for 2 or just kick the extra point and you win with a field goal if they go for 1. So
here's Mizell. Look at that tackle. My goodness, Tracy Walker. Whew.
Just a great job accelerating through the ball carrier, getting their hat in front of them.
Tracy Walker made a big play last week. There's an interception to show for that. What a tackle on special teams on this occasion. So the Bears backed inside their 20. Over to Cohen, who was left alone. Got a marker down, and it's going to be a low hit.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 98 defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Tyler Bray is the backup. They just brought him up this week. from the practice squad.
When Harrison falls right in,
Oh,
you
boy.
can't. Oh, yeah.
That can't be good.
No, you can't go in, and Harrison knew it right. The only way it's not a penalty is if you're getting pushed into it. But right call, Gene?
Right call, yes. Got to protect the knees. That's not being blocked into the quarterback's knees.
He wasn't pushed. Yeah.
Correct.
But Daniel seems to have walked it off for the moment. 9-yard pass play, 15-yard penalty, so net of 24, final minute third.
Well, they got a big tight end in. This is an offensive lineman right at the bottom.
Daniel goes deep with it and just out of reach for Allen Robinson.
That's why you bring the big extra tight end in. Get your chance to get great pass protection and get down the field. And just really Slay playing the leverage. That makes that throw really difficult. See how Slay's outside and underneath? The fact that he's outside makes it mean you have to throw it over the top of him, but not out of bounds right there as another defender.
Here's a 2nd and 10. It's going to go across the middle. And that's Bellamy finally being called on for the first time today. And a gain of 7. Third and 3 coming up. They don't have to run another play here, Tony.
They'll get up and run it. There's no one telling you not to. 3rd and 3. Crowd's getting into it. We're getting ourselves a football game now. This is the biggest play of the game so far, Jim.
Coming after him, gets it away. Got the first down. Over to Gabriel. Ford. Twist him down.
And that's the tough part for Detroit. Everyone outside of Slay is struggling in man-to-man coverage. But so far, we got a game.
And we're heading to the 4th. Starting the 4th, Jim Nance, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, Gene Steratore, Jim Rickoff, and Ryan Galvin. Producers, Mike Arnold, our director. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. As the Bears have advanced the football now to the Lions side of the field, trailing 13-9. Quickly over to Cohen. And he's out of bounds after a 6 or 7 yard pickup. This NFC playoff picture, you got these two electrifying teams. Of course, the Saints have beaten the Rams, handing them their only loss. Saints have peeled off 9 straight wins since an opening loss against Tampa. And then you got the Bears there at 7-3. Washington and Dallas coming up later today. If the Cowboys win that game, they would have, by virtue of a better divisional record, they would have the lead at the moment if they won that game today in the NFC East. 2nd and 3. Over the middle, who's going to throw it? Going to come right back to Daniel. I guess that leg's okay as Daniel has the first down and has his helmet almost ripped off by Aquara. And that generates a flag on the field.
Personal foul. Grasping the face mask. Defense number 95. After distance to the goal. Automatic. First down.
Well, if you had any question about Chase Daniel and whether his leg is a little gimpy, you wouldn't be calling this play.
Yeah, the double pass. And then the run by Daniel. It's a lot to do for 6 to 10 yards, but that's the face mask at the end. Let's see if he grabs it. You can definitely see that he gets his arm around. And then it's hard to tell. But
right in there, in that end part.
You can't grab up on it like that. That's a penalty.
Football all the way down to the 14. And whistle first. Timeout called on the Chicago side.
Charge timeout. Chicago, they're first. It will be 30 seconds.
Well, Nagy knew the play call and he knew the front, and it wasn't going to be very successful.
Well, the only Super Bowl to be held at Ford Field came back in 2006. The Steelers and the Seahawks One of the highlights of the game, the 43-yard touchdown pass. Antoine Randall L. to Hines Ward in the fourth quarter. Victory for the Steelers and Coach Cowher. And remember, Super Bowl 53 takes place right here on CBS, Sunday, February 3rd from Atlanta. How much did you enjoy the tradition of playing on Thanksgiving Day?
Oh, you love it. You grew up thinking about football on Thanksgiving already. And then just watching it over the years, it's just, you talk to any football player, Thanksgiving's synonymous with football for us. Just part of life, and it's a special deal to play on Thanksgiving.
Daniel played once on Thanksgiving in action with the Saints down in Dallas. Here's a 1st and 10 throw. Incomplete, and he hits the ground again. And by the way, he fared quite well on Thanksgiving, although I was there when you got hurt against Carolina late in your career. He had 18 touchdown passes. That's the most all-time on Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, that's no wonder I'm rooting so much against Stafford today.
There it is.
Jeez. Matt's a great guy. I've been friends with him for a long time, and he's played great on Thanksgiving. You know, he's going to have to throw another one probably to get, he's going to have to throw one here today to probably win this football game, I think.
2nd and 10, turn around, caught, touchdown, Tariq Cohen. Well, that's 2 for Daniel today.
This is just another, like I said, you got to stop the wheel routes by these running backs. It's the 3rd time that a big play has happened on a form of that, and Lawson just trying to cover him. You're going to see right here, he's just going to go to the flat and then angles it right to the corner. And really, I actually like that throw by Daniel to make sure he brings him back in play with touch.
Hey, that did have some touch on it, didn't it?
Yeah, and he turns him around, and it's the safe throw with no one there to make sure he's not too close to the sideline.
And they go with 1 this time with Parkey to take the lead to 3. Chase Daniel, just his 3rd start in 9 years. He's got a couple of touchdown passes. Tariq Cohen with a 14-yard touchdown catch. The Bears drive aided by 2 personal foul penalties against the Lions. And Daniel had even a reception on that drive. He had never had one in the NFL or in college. So his first catch of any significance. And he's got now 2 touchdown passes after having only 3 completions the 3 previous years. And the Lions again will watch that one sail overhead.
Well, on the last drive, you saw the Lions get a little more exotic with a little more down the field passing, and a lot of it was just the misdirection stuff. Make the defense start flowing one way and do something else. Get them moving side to side, horizontally, and then let the running back take the route of a receiver. And then at the end, you just give it to the big guy and let him pound it in. I want to see the same thing out of Detroit here. Jim Bob Cooter, hopefully you got a few more plays like that in the plan.
No chance that time for LeGarrette. Maybe 1. Roquan Smith awaited him. Mukamara has been in and out. A couple of times banged up, only to return. Again, was out on that 1 pass play. The 43-yarder to Galladay that set up the Lions' 2nd touchdown. 2nd and 9. There's Galladay again. Look at him fight through that tackle of Kyle Fuller and pick up 11 and a new set of downs.
Well, it's 1-on-1. And Galladay gets up into Fuller and uses his size and, just physicalness on an under route, which we saw made famous by Peyton Manning in Indy, which is where Jim Bob Cooter's background comes from. So you see that route still being used by them more than any other team.
Here's a 1st and 10. He set it up for center. And He's slammed down by Eddie Goldman. For more, let's go down to the sideline, and here's Tracy.
Well, Jim, you mentioned Prince Amukamara back out there, and we saw him collide with a teammate in the first half, had to be helped off. He was not checked for a concussion then, but then was pulled out on that last drive. He was evaluated in the blue tent. An independent neurologist watched the monitor, but they did clear him, and he is back out there, Jim.
And he's on Galladay at the bottom of the screen. 2nd and 6. Blunt. Right into the arms of Trevathan. Bears defense has surrendered 220 yards in this game. Again, they are right up there with the best in the league. And you start talking about some of the talent. What Akeem Hicks has done this year, the likes of Leonard Floyd, Roquan Smith, and of course Mack has gotten so much attention, and deservedly so.
Yeah, they do. And really, you just saw the stat there, the fourth quarter. They just need to finish some of these games because they're so dominant during stretches. You know, they really easily could be 9-1.
Here's the 3rd and 3. Mack's coming after him. Got it away to Galladay. Galladay splits and falls at the 33. Boy, he kicked it in gear.
Oh, my goodness. This was an exceptional job. You know, Stafford, great job standing in. But watch Mack right here as he just gets pressure instantly. And Stafford does a great job getting out. But watch Wilson in the middle. Wilson's the guy who makes this play. Galladay's coming across, and it's a pick play. But Wilson's supposed to pick him, but doesn't actually pick, and it allows Galladay to get wide open and get a big play. Well done by Wilson there.
Galladay now 4 catches for 80 yards. 77 coming in the second half, and Blunt. That's Smith. Amukamara was not going to bring it down with an arm tackle, so took Smith to finish him off after 7.
So Wilson on the previous play is the tight end. He's going to come across the field. Now watch, he's supposed to pick for Galladay, and he goes, nope. And it allows him to get wide open because Callahan felt it and he thought he was going to hit into him. That's a penalty if he would have ran into him.
Mack on the sidelines for this snap. 2nd and 3. Back to Blunt. 15 down to 11. He's playing hungry on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, just a perfect hungry play because there he goes. And no one on that side of the field with a 5-man rush is prepared for him to come out of the backfield. That right there is a tendency. So the defensive coordinator calls it, says Blunt's in the game. This isn't a pass. Let's have a 5-man rush, stop the run. And all of a sudden he goes out and goes across the field. No one's there for him. Good adjustment. Going against what you would normally do.
Mack back on the field. 1st and 10 at the 11. Stafford. Terrific. Picks up
8. This is just an option route by the back. I would argue he made a poor choice going inside. He can go inside or outside, but Stafford finds him behind an interior defender. It's Glasgow banged up on the play, the center.
Dahl's going to replace him. Tough place to come onto the field with a new center exchange.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. As a quarterback, you're like, let's go shotgun on the first snap. Right now, you want to get on the sideline. Usually what you do, if you're lucky enough, is you get a snap or two right now. And if you, sometimes you've, we've put this in practice. I'd say Patricia's done a good enough job being like, new center, let's just see if they get the exchange. If not, you can go a month or two without ever getting a new exchange.
They actually moved Ragnow over to center. 2nd and 2. Hicks holds him to a yard.
And Ragnow is a road grader inside the center now. You'll see him just push him to the side. But then Hicks gets off of the right tackle. Tackle Wagner makes the play.
Glasgow is back for this important 3rd down snap at the 8-minute mark. 3rd and 1, down by 3.
No blunt in the game, so you got to throw this. You can't give this ball. You've got to throw it to a matchup you like. The problem is the doubling.
Here they come. Pass away, tipped away, incomplete. Eddie Jackson. Pass across the middle to Michael Roberts. And now out they bring the field goal unit to try to tie this game.
I think he got a little finger on it. Let's see. No. Oh, Roberts just fell a little bit. It's almost like Stafford throws this ball, and it's actually a really good ball. But you can see Roberts is tripping and falling down. He just got tangled up, I think, just before.
An old extra point about to be attempted for 3.
Now, it could be 16-14 right now. They went for 2 earlier.
And now Matt Prater has made 27 straight fourth quarter kicks. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Lowe's. Kay Jewelers, for all the moments, for love forever. And by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. Hitsville, USA is the nickname given to Motown Records. First headquarters located about 4 miles from right here at Ford Field. Some of the notable Motown artists. Man, where do you start? The Jacksons, the Four Tops, Diana Ross and the Supremes, the Temptations, Stevie Wonder and the Miracles.
Did you look that up, or did you know all that?
I have seen every one of them. I saw every one of them in concert multiple times.
When they were just starting, or when they were just finishing?
Kind of. I'm old enough to say that. Barry Gordy. What a genius. Here's Chase Daniel.
You see,
what a day he's having, huh?
A little bit of everything, right? You see him running there, and you see him catching here. He's wiggling his way for about 8 there, and then...
You love this throw.
That was great. I actually think that was one of the best throws of the day. The other shoulder, bring them back inside to make sure the out of bounds doesn't, get in play where accidentally a foot lands out. But now you got to drive. Fourth quarter, this is when they need you, right here. Both quarterbacks got to step up and make a big play under duress at some point.
Daniel. Dangerous pass because it was well covered. That's Mike Ford. I think he's certainly playing himself into a prominent role on this roster.
He does a great job just on a simple out and up by Gabriel. And Gabriel has speed, so for Ford to stay with him, he's had 2 really good pass breakups today. One play gave up a little bit of space, but this is a young guy in his, second game?
Well, they like him so much they've named the field after him. After just a couple of games.
Just imagine if he gets an interception.
No kidding. 2nd and 10. Here's Howard. 3rd down and long coming up.
Okay. Got to go with your best play if you're Chicago. Not much pressure out of Detroit in this game. I think you're going to stick with that. See what Matt Nagy comes up with. You don't got Cohen in the game. Howard's in the game. That means you're trying to protect a little bit. Coming after him.
Picked up. Not in time. They've got him. Ball is out. Well, it was ruled down. Howard was able to scoop it up, but it didn't matter. Glover Quinn got to him first.
Yeah, the pressure from this side. And Patricia saves it for a big moment in the game. You're just going through like, oh, they're not going to pressure, and then here it comes. Now watch the busted coverage up top. You talked about Ford. Ford just missed that. His guy Miller ran straight up the seam.
Boy, he did a good job. Wait a minute now.
That did come out, didn't it?
It did come out, but the snap is away.
They blew it dead, though, so they called him down already.
TJ Jones. There's a ball on the ground as well. 47-yard punt. Lions, though, get the start at the 41. Here's what we saw. Did a good job of wrapping it around the defender. 6 minutes, 9 seconds to go for this NFC North rivalry game. The division leading Bears and the 4-6 Lions all tied at 16. Here comes Stafford. And he's picked off, and it's going the distance. Eddie Jackson, for the 5th time in his young career, has a touchdown.
This is an incredible play by Jackson. I mean,
he's going to bring the orchestra together like he did last week. Okay. Last week it was an orchestra. Now,
look at this.
Now calisthenics.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
How about this? He had a touchdown, what, about 87 hours apart? 2 touchdowns, 41-yard return.
Look at this, Jim. So they're going to blitz the backers. That means Jackson has the tight end. He comes out of the middle of the field and runs 10 yards, 15 yards to go make that interception.
Extra point makes it 7.
Stafford thought he has an easy completion in the flat. And Jackson, who has great instincts.
Oh, does he?
He really does have like rare instincts, and you see these plays pop up randomly.
Saw Chase Daniel come over and congratulate him.
You see that 5th return touchdown since 17? I mean, those are those instincts you talk about. You can't make that many game-changing type plays without having that next level. At the top of your screen left, he sprints and gets there, and Stafford never sees him.
No, he's 11 games into the 2nd year of his career, and he came in with more touchdowns in the last 2 years than 16 teams in the league. And now he's added another one.
This team has people all over. They're starting to, the world's starting to see this Bears defense and how good. And he gives it to Mike Ditka just to make sure.
To Bears.
Ditka got a good seat today.
And that gives the Chicago defense 6 on the season.
That's his 4th. I mean, that's really, he stands out on that tape. Everyone talks about Mac, but they got a few guys now who are special over there.
Boy, Eddie Jackson quieting down everyone inside Ford Field with that electrifying return. CBS Super Bowl season continues Sunday. We got a doubleheader. Early, many are going to see the Patriots and the Jets, and then we're going to be out in Denver. We head out to the Mile High City, Pittsburgh and the Broncos. Steelers riding a 6-game win streak. Denver coming off a big win against the Chargers. All starts with the NFL today. Presented by Jeep at noon Eastern.
Playoff picture in the AFC. Good one to look at as you see Blunt.
So Blunt for 7.
Jim, did you see Nagy was excited on that pick to the house? You know you're an offensive coach, and you're like, you want to, when your defense does something, you go nuts, because it's like, you know, you get a chance to go over there and spend time with them a few days. You know, the only people as happy as him were his Grandma Gigi
yes.
back at home with Thanksgiving.
Well, he said this is his favorite holiday of all. And certainly didn't want to sully it by coming here and seeing the win streak come to an end. But there's still 5.5 to go, 7-point game, and that's going to pick up a 1st down. Can't believe we got her in there. His dear grandmother, Pat Eibach, known as Gigi, who he says makes the best Thanksgiving stuffing of anybody on the planet. And he even gave us the secret, sorry Gigi, saffron. So,
not so much for a secret.
That's why he said, you go ahead, give it away, it's time.
I'm not sure
Gigi
he said
won't
that.
mind.
I feel like he kind of nodded a little bit. But it's not the 3rd down package, at least.
2 set of downs here for the Lions. Number 36. And they'll pick up another 4, maybe 5. Riddick.
This just keeps coming up over and over again. Vic Fangio's blitzing right here over and over. He's coming after Stafford, and when that running back comes after, the pocket gets collapsed. It's 5 guys, you know, rushing the quarterback. There's not much time, and that ball's got to come out. And you saw the big play by Jackson earlier. You're going to see it continue here as this game keeps going on. They're going to keep coming after him on any crucial down.
Galladay at the top of the screen. There's a pass down the field, and it's over the head of Luke Wilson with a penalty marker down in the area where Stafford released it, and he said he got hit right in the face guard.
Illegal use of the hands, hands to the face. Number 96, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
We're seeing a lot of blitzing by the Bears.
Yeah, and that's, see the penalty, the hands to the face, hands to the neck, the throat, the face mask. It's a good call. But you're right, they're pressuring him, Jim, just because offensive lines who can't pass off and go to the next guy, you know, it's just, you want to come after the quarterback because someone's going to get there very quickly.
First defensive penalty on the Bears today as Blunt. Look at him break tackles. Look at Blunt inside the 40, and the big man is down to the 28 before he is tripped up by Fuller. That goes for 27.
Just a good run, outside zone, misdirection, and the fact that the receiver comes back makes the Bears slow play their gap. And he broke Callahan's tackle and then just off to the races. And Blunt's showing you something today, isn't he?
Yeah, he sure is. A couple of touchdowns, 86 yards in all, and it will stay at 86 after his 18th carry. Coming up, the State Farm postgame show. JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, Coach Cowher. Highlights and analysis of today's game coming up on the State Farm postgame show.
Early in the game, we talked about them getting the ball out of Stafford's hands, creating 1 or 2 big plays and running the football, and it gives you a chance late in the game to be in the game. And here you are, you're looking at it right now. Without the interception, it's, you know, it's obviously tied. But right now, you're still in this game. You've done everything right. Now you got to make a play.
Here they blitz again. Underneath they go to Ellington. Catch number 6 on the day, but only for a total of 29 yards for Ellington.
It's efficient, and Stafford knows. Make one guy miss in the backfield, adjust with one signal, all of a sudden get the right call up versus the right pressure. You've seen it throughout the day. You know who to block, who not to, who to attack. Right now is the time that someone's going to have to stand up and do it for you. Chicago's got to keep coming after him. I can't imagine that they're not going to rush one of these 2 guys right here inside in a big situation on 3rd and 4.
Picks up the first. That's Golladay, who's disappointed he wasn't able to make one shake because it might have gone all the way.
Well, this is why you want to pressure, because when Stafford has time to look around, he's going to find the open guy. And Fangio decides this time not to come after him, and that gives him just enough time to wait for Golladay to come across the field. See that? The influence of the tight end there makes him go up the field and gives just enough time for Stafford to progress through it.
And we're going to have the 2-minute warning. So, a nail biter here in Motown. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart. Light up Christmas at Walmart. And by Bud Light. Follow along with the King on social media. Coming out of the 2-minute warning, Lions need a touchdown extra point to tie it. Got a 1st and 10 at the 12. Stafford 4 for 4 on this drive. They go ground. Blunt for 1.
And that's a good call right there by Detroit, because you do want to, if you're going to score, which is ultimately the only thing that matters here is scoring a touchdown, you're not kicking a field goal. You want to make sure you don't just score on the first play right there. I mean, more than anything, you want to take time off, and now at this point, you've taken off 40 seconds. Now you try and score on each play. If you scored in the last one, you scored, but you're handing off, trying to figure it out.
And
Prior to the snap, the previous play is under review.
ooh, they're going to review that last play.
Of what?
already said after the play it ended, they were ruled down by contact. Chicago did end up with the football, so inside of 2 minutes, they're going to review it up top.
Wasn't he laying on the ground when they grabbed the ball from him? So obviously it's a run at the middle, which I like. It's a good call. Waste 40 seconds. If you score, you score.
All right, let's bring in Gene.
And then they rip the ball from him after he's laying. Gene, you watching this one here?
I am. I'm trying to find where they're looking. It appears they're looking for him either being down by contact, as you alluded to, and the ball coming out.
I mean, the ball seems to come out well after he's already down on his back.
And now let's rip it out.
I think the question would be, if he is laying down, is he laying on bodies? He's just on bodies, so we don't have a knee or a body part. There's the shoulder.
He's
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field was the runner was down due to forward progress. We will have second down.
But, you know, that's a break for Detroit right there, because you get another 2 minutes to come up with your perfect play call. You wasted 40 seconds.
10 seconds on the play clock.
Oh, and they're giving him now to 10 seconds. So now all of a sudden, if you get a perfect call, Detroit, Stafford got to tell everyone what to do. Second and 9, you're trying to score any play you can. From this point on.
Here he goes, out of the gun. Stafford, end zone bound. Got it! Oh, it looked like for a moment Golladay might reel it in, but it falls incomplete.
Oh, they saved this play. They hadn't run it all day. It's going to be a deep slant, go up the field and then come in. And you run the running back to the flat right now to create the room for Golladay.
Almost.
Oh, man. He almost pulled that in.
Amazing. Third and 9.
Watch out for the tailback here. Tailback's going to be matched up if they're not double teamed on one of these guys right here.
And he's a good one. Riddick out of the backfield in the passing game. He picks up the blitz instead to the end zone. Intercepted by Fuller.
Well, you're going to see they definitely have some interesting, fun ones in the end zone. But this is really an outstanding job by the defensive end. He wants to throw to the tailback, but he's going to get bumped off his route, and he's going to have to throw to the tight end. So Stafford looks, and he sees, and you see right there, Roberts really doesn't even expect the ball coming to him. Mack hits him, and Roberts just kind of running out there, thinking the ball's going to go to the tailback. He doesn't like the leverage. Stafford, though, wants to throw to the back, and then he sees he gets clipped there, and he's like, okay, I got nowhere to go. It's kind of a throwaway. The problem is he throws it over. He's like, what are you doing, Roberts? Go deep. You're going right down the middle.
And the Bears come up with 2 interceptions of Stafford in a 4-minute and 53-second span. Maybe that's a modern-day version. Maybe that's Super Bowl Shuffle 2.0.
Well, they're leading it in turnovers, aren't they? I mean, they get takeaways every single game.
Now remember, the Lions have all 3 timeouts. We'll take one quickly here.
Well, the best you can do now is get this ball back with around 40, 45 seconds. You know, all of a sudden 53, you can make them punt around 52 seconds, get it 45, give yourself a chance. Chicago needs to be smart. At the same time, Detroit, with a 3-and-out, is going to at least get a shot at a Hail Mary if nothing else goes their way. If they can get a 3-and-out right here.
Again, the State Farm post-game show was coming up with JP, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cowher. Their take on this game, all coming up on the State Farm post-game show.
I'm impressed with Khalil Mack making that play with the chip. Vic Fangio having him. He's lined up on that side, chips the running back, completely disrupts the play.
On.
Situationally very smart.
10-10. Blue 80, what's that?
2nd and 9, Howard tripped up behind the line, doesn't quite get back. So now another timeout, 59 seconds. Lions have 1 remaining. Well, you had some interesting quarterback scenarios where backups have gotten the opportunity on Thanksgiving Day. A lot of those happening down in Dallas. Clint Longley, I'm old enough to remember that. Jason Garrett starred in a relief appearance coming in on Thanksgiving Day for Troy Aikman. Chase Daniel.
And you remember him on Thanksgiving. Everyone's watching. People sitting around. I mean, just for Chase to come in and have an opportunity and to play like he has today. He's done an excellent job. He knows this offense, and that's why you go bring him in. You want to make sure that when your quarterback gets banged up, you have an opportunity to win a game still. You're not done just because he went out.
Will they run it again here?
Yeah, they're going to run the football here. There's nothing else you're doing. You're just trying to make sure there's no turnovers, no holding penalties.
Cohen cuts outside near the first. Look at his lineman carry him across to put the game away. That's James Daniels, who carries him across for the game clincher.
Oh, that's just devastating for Detroit. You cannot give up that many yards on just a simple power out of goal line. They come out in goal line, basically, and wow, just a great job finishing the play. And you can see Daniels carrying going to the first down. And
so Daniel and Daniels come up with some great efforts today, and Chicago's about to end its 8-game divisional road losing streak. The last time they had won in the division on the road was on Thanksgiving Day 3 years ago at Green Bay in a night game.
Chicago has led in the second half. We said in every game this year, that's a team. They're going to get in the playoffs. Chicago, we said that they're going to be in, and this is a team you don't want to see, because that defense, when it's cold out, if you're in an environment that isn't indoors and you're going against Chicago, this is going to be very difficult to move the ball consistently against them. You're going to rely on your defense in that specific game.
Came back from a lot today without Trubisky, with about an 85-hour week to get ready for this after a home game Sunday night. Ends late, got to travel here. Chase Daniel comes in and helps lead them to victory. 8-3 now, the Bears.
You never know how this finishes up. I mean, those top two teams are real good. Chicago might barely be just under them, but I would also tell you Chicago has the best defense of all these teams. So you never want to see the best defense in the playoffs. I'll tell you, that's a team who can sneak in anywhere.
Final score is Chicago 23, Detroit 16. Coming next, the State Farm postgame show. We'll take you back to New York for all the highlights. Tony, safe travels home. You and Candace and the family have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll see you in Denver on Sunday.
You got it. Back to Courtney and you and the kids as well.
Well, folks, may you cherish the happiness of the season like the look of pure joy and wonder in the eyes of a child. Happy Thanksgiving and many blessings to all.